Several hundred years ago, the Arabs and the Europeans traded with India. The first European to find a sea route to India was the Portuguese Vasco da Gama. He went around Africa and landed at Calicut in Kerala a little over 500 years ago. The Portuguese started trading with India mainly in spices. They were followed by the Dutch, French, and the English traders. Soon, they started fighting against each other to get a bigger share of trade for themselves. Finally, the British defeated the others and formed the English East India Company in the year 1600 for trading in India. They made various trading centers in the western and eastern coasts and bought many textile and spices from India. The wealth taken by the traders of the East India Company was used to fund the Industrial Revolution in Britain. The British not only needed a steady supply of raw materials for the industries, but also a market in which to sell their goods. Soon, the British were not content with being mere traders and wanted to control the whole of India. Around 250 years ago, the Mughal Empire in India had already started declining, and several regional parties had started emerging. The British took advantage of the constant fighting between them and started gaining control over India. The first stage of the British conquest of India was marked by the Battle of Plassey in 1757. The British defeated the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah, in this battle. Over the next 100 years, they extended their control over most of India. The officers of the East India Company started using unfair means to get rich at the cost of the Indians, and soon there was discontent among the Indians. The farmers in India were forced to grow crops like indigo and cotton, which provided the British with the raw materials needed for their factories. These materials were purchased at a very low price, and thus the Indian farmers became poorer and suffered, while the British flourished. The milk cloth made in the British factories was sold in India at a much cheaper rate and was also of better quality, thus they were preferred by the people. The Indian industry suffered and workers became poorer due to this. The goods coming from Britain made the life of the traders too very miserable. The Indian farmers, traders, workers, and even the rulers were angry and dissatisfied with the British rule, and thus in 1857 they all rose together in a revolt. This revolt started after months of tension among the soldiers, who were told to bite off the ends of greased cartridges for their rifles. A rumor spread among the soldiers that the cartridges were greased with the fat of pigs and cows. This angered both the Muslims and the Hindus. On 29th March 1857, an Indian soldier, Mangal Pandey, attacked a British officer near Calcutta, for which he was later hanged on 8th April 1857. This angered the Indian soldiers. On 10th May 1857, Indian soldiers in Meerut shot down their officers and took over Meerut. Then they marched to Delhi to meet the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, to request him to lead the revolt. The revolt spread rapidly to other parts of India. Different leaders led the revolt in different parts of India. Some of the prominent leaders were Nana Sahib, Tatya Tope, and Rani Lakshmi Bai. But this first war of independence was finally crushed by the British because the British had superior weapons and many Indians sided them. But the British were alarmed by this revolt by the Indians. In 1858, the British government decided to take India under its direct control and thus ended the rule of East India Company, and a viceroy was appointed to rule over India on behalf of the crown. This revolt of 1857 was not successful, but it gave the Indians the awareness of the strength and the confidence that if they unite, then they would surely be able to push away the British from their land. And thus the seed for the freedom struggle was sowed. Thank you.